Good morning, everybody. Thank you for having me. This is a good-looking group. Very attractive group. I am here to talk to you about data. It's the most interesting topic of all. But it's probably the most applicable thing for you to talk about today to surge your business forward. Either keep more customers, attract more customers, and doing both. But let me jump into the presentation. So what we're going to talk about is the search for buried treasure. What a nice title. So the buried treasure really is the data sitting in the systems that you have access to. But before we get into that, you're right, I'm going to say that I'm a proud dad and a proud husband. So it's funny, I was showing this to my family, and I started off with that first bullet. I'm a husband and a dad to two great kids. And my wife said, make sure you say that you're a husband to one great wife. I said, okay, I'll say that. So there you go, check. So I've been in the business of sales effectiveness consulting for 20 years now. It started off as a career with Xerox. So no, I am not an insurance broker. I'm a customer of an insurance broker. I won't say which one, but I am a customer of an insurance broker. But I live to help different industries figure out how do you sell more effectively. And selling means selling more to your existing customers or renewing the ones that you already have, but it also means how do I go get new ones? And that's been changing. Holy cow, has it changed. And the acceleration of change is amazing. And not just in your industry. I know you're feeling it, but in other industries too. It's happened. Some of the industries have already changed, like Uber, right? How many people have taken an Uber before? Show of hands. Like, that's amazing. More than half the room. Like, think about that for a second, okay? And that wasn't even possible not that long ago. So my experience in the sales consulting world is from startups, companies that are just getting going, all the way up to Fortune 100 companies. I am a VP of Sales and Marketing for a CRM company. So everything I talk about, we actually do. This is not a deck that I said, everyone should do this, and then I don't do it. Every day, what I'm going to talk about today, our company does. And we're growing. Last year, we grew 65%. And we plan to grow again, hopefully. I don't think we can grow that fast. The thing with growth is you need to hire people. And you need this stuff called money. But the growth is there. Okay. To get grounded, I want you to go on a little bit of a journey with me. Klaus Schwab wrote this book called The Fourth Industrial Revolution. So I'm going to break down the Industrial Revolution into 4 different phases, and it's important for today. This topic is so important. This topic is being discussed at the Economic Forum about 2 or 3 years ago, and this is a book that was written to describe it. So, the first Industrial Revolution, does anybody know what this is? Steam locomotion. So, anyone that could see what was happening, whether you lived in Canada, United States, steam locomotion opened up commerce, opened up the country. It opened up Canada, and it opened up the United States. And for those people who recognized what was happening, they profited. They did really, really well. And so you would see things like this Pony Express, delivering packages and things like that. They didn't do it by pony anymore. They stuck it on a train that also had paying passengers and everything else. So people who profited from this is called old money. So the people that have built their fortunes on this first Industrial Revolution did really well. The next one was the combustion engine. So the combustion engine, all of us drive a car today. Some of us don't drive combustion engines anymore. We drive the electric car. That's even another topic. But the combustion engine really changed the way we live. This is a picture in 1904 in New York City. And if you look at the picture, you can see, it's hard to see here, but you can see that there's horses and buggies, and there's streetcars, and there's the start of the combustion engine infiltrating New York City, but there's tons of horse and buggies. 25% of the US economy was focused on food for horses back then. There's a movie called Other People's Money with Danny DeVito, and he talks about buggy whips and how you could have been the top selling buggy whip manufacturer at this period in time, and eventually no one would need a buggy whip. 20 years later, here's that same corner. There's no more horses. Like, not even one. Look at all the cars. So that happened in 20 years. And the buggy whip manufacturers, gone. The food production for horses, way down. So they had to change what they did. So that was the second industrial revolution. The third one was the computer chip, so the microprocessor. And the microprocessor, we carry microprocessors in the computers we see here today, in your cell phone now. It's not even, it's a mini computer. You have more computing power in the palm of your hand than what those systems on that picture had back then, which is unbelievable. So this really, really changed things. And a lot of us, like some of the sponsors out of here I noticed are in high tech. This really changed things. Which one are we in now? We're in the fourth industrial revolution. Some people call it the digital age. We like to call it the cloud and data. Cloud and data meaning there was a time where to leverage data, you need to have all these systems and things like that in your own building. Today, you don't. Just like electricity, back at the turn of the century, large corporations used to have a VP of electricity, literally in charge of making sure that the company had enough electricity to do what they needed to do. That was a job. The utility companies took all that over, and they manage it, and they make sure that you have the power that you need. So that's kind of happening in the IT space. So companies, when IT was really starting to get going, companies would have large armies of IT professionals. And they were, excuse me, they were responsible for keeping your email running, your ERP system going so you can invoice customers and collect payments, things like that. So now it's in the cloud. And you subscribe to the software, and someone else makes sure that it works. Now, IT still plays an important role, but their job's a little bit easier. So what does all this mean? Well, every 2 days, we create as much information as we did from the beginning of time until 2003. Think about that for a second. This stat's about 2 years old, too, by the way. Over 90% of all the data in the world was created in the last 2 years. That's crazy. Every minute, we send 204 million emails and generate 1.8 million Facebook likes and send 278,000 tweets. I think my wife is 1 million of those Facebook likes. I gotta stop picking on her. Is this being recorded? Brokers spend hours playing with their BMS. Is that true? Okay. So your opportunity is in the data. You're gonna hear that all day long. The question is, are you ready? Show of hands. Are you ready to take advantage of it? Are you nervous? Show of hands if you don't know what to do. Like, how do I take advantage of it? Show of hands. And everyone else is not sure. Okay. You don't have to look like this to take advantage of what's happening. So most of you said you have gone and used Uber. If before Uber launched, someone was to say, you can get on the curb, open your smartphone, plug an app, car will pick up, get in the car, it delivers to where you're going, and then it pays the bill automatically, and if you want, you can do a survey and you're done. If someone was to tell you, would you use that service, you'd say, it sounds complicated, and what if the person came up and he was going to kill me or something, he's not a cab, and I'm not doing that, right? You wouldn't have done it, but more than half of you have done it. So you don't have to be a tech guru to take advantage of the data. So the topic is the search for buried treasure. So all of you have the data you need to be successful. You have it now. You don't have to change anything. It's there. It's at your disposal. It's in your systems, and it's in other places. So how do you get at it? So the first question, if it really is buried treasure, what is it? So what do you have that is so valuable to help you retain customers and help you grow your customer base? Well, it's things like data that's in your broker management system. And that's just one place. There's other systems that you have access to that you will be able to leverage to grow your business, to help service your customers in a way that they'd like to be serviced. I'm not going to go deep into the different systems. Later on, there'll be more of that. But how do you find it? Is there like a treasure map that will take you there? How do you get it? Am I going to give you something at the end of the day to give you a map of exactly how to do it? Not necessarily, but it isn't that hard. So if you think about it, what are the natural triggers to a new or existing client to make a purchase? So the buried treasure really is all about thinking through what are the things I need to know to find a new client, right? So all of you know what those are. A lot of you have been doing this for years. Most of it is face-to-face with your clients, right? So what are the things I need to know to reach out to a customer? So one really common one is an expiry date, so a date that's coming, a renewal. So if you can get in early enough to your clients and say, hey, your insurance policy is up for renewal, has anything changed, that type of thing, then you can use those as triggers to sell them more. Now, you already know all this, right? You use it all the time. So there's that kind of data. There's other data, though, in your systems that can help you reach out to customers. There was one, I met one fellow, he had a customer, and he said, you know what, I've got this really good customer. He's probably my best customer. And about 6 months ago, I gave him a call because I hadn't talked to him for quite a while. And I found out that he went with somebody else. And I'd been with him for like 20 years. And I said, what's his name? And he said, Bob Smith. So I typed in Bob Smith in LinkedIn. And I looked, and his job changed about 8 months before he left this broker. And I said, well, look here, he changed jobs 8 months ago. When did he leave you? He said 6 months ago. So, okay, so if he changed jobs 8 months ago, and then he left you, the trigger for him, he changed jobs. Maybe he had more money. Maybe his needs changed. Something happened. But that was a really simple trigger that was in LinkedIn, which is publicly available information that he could have used to make sure he stayed in touch with his best customer. So is it easy? Is it easy to figure out what data should I be using? What data should I not be using? How do I make it, how do I make it happen? It is easy if you start with the basics. So some of you are already doing this. Some of you are not doing anything, and some of you are in the middle. So all you want to do is go from here to here. You don't have to worry about going to here. Just go here to here. Just start using data. Just start using the data that you already have. What help do you need? Do you need help? First, let's talk about what you have today. So, question. Can you shout out for me what digital tools do you have today to manage your business? This is the crowd participation part. Broker management systems. And how many different kinds of broker management systems are there? 4 main ones. 3 main ones. So how many in this room use the 4 or 3 main ones? Show of hands. Okay, how many don't use the 4? It's pretty much everybody. So that's pretty good. So you all have some commonality. And I'll tell you right now, the BMS is the place where the treasure is buried. Like that, there's a big chest of treasure, and it's sitting in there. So I would literally get together for those of you who have the same BMS and work together. And I know there's different technology and things like that you can use. Okay. What else? What other technology do you use digitally to service your existing customers and go find new ones? The internet. And what about the internet? What things in the internet? Website? LinkedIn, so social tools. Exactly. That's good. So we said BMS. Absolutely. Your cell phone. Your cell phone is a little mini computer. It is highly valuable. Email. So how many people get a lot of emails every day? Too many, I bet. Right? I remember probably 8 years ago now, everyone said email, there are too many emails, and companies would have these initiatives of how to reduce email, and they would come up with content management systems and all these things, but email still is worse now than it ever was. It's kind of funny. So emails, a lot of valuable information in your email. So LinkedIn is just one of the social media tools I want to point out. LinkedIn is very powerful. It tells you, like my example, when someone changed jobs, there's a lot of other information in there too. Other social media tools. Is anyone else using anything other than LinkedIn in their business? Facebook? I met a real estate agent when I was looking for a house, and I asked him if he uses a CRM. He says, no, I use Facebook. That's all he used. I thought that was interesting. So what he would do is if he met you, he would go find you on Facebook, he would add you, And then that's how he stayed in touch with you. And he still stays in touch with me today. It's kind of funny. Last but not least, other software. So these are the 6 real things. So your BMS, number 1, there's a treasure chest. Number 2, email. In your email, there's gold. LinkedIn, I pull that out because I think it's the most powerful platform in social media, but then other social media tools. And there's new ones coming online all the time. And last but not least, your cell phone, because there's apps. You have apps on your cell phone. Now, if you have this kind of cell phone, you don't have any apps. So which one do you use? Do you use this one, or do you use that one? How many people are using something that looks like that? That's okay. You're here, we're going to get you to here. For those of you that are using that, we're going to take you from here and get you to there. So the only thing this does is it gives you the ability to do everything you would do with a computer, mobile. So don't worry if you're using that other one. That's okay. At least you can get in touch with people. But if you are into the smartphone technology, this is a gold mine for you because it's going to fill in the little holes. So today, you're going to have a break. All of you are going to go out, and you're going to check your email, see what's really hot. Hopefully, you've done some quotes over the last few days, and the customer's waiting to hear it back, and you're going to send them that today, right from your smartphone, hopefully. So you're going to do some things because you have the mobile tool you couldn't do if you didn't have it. So it's a very important tool. So here's a whole bunch of different social tools. So we already talked about this. So LinkedIn we're using. Facebook I heard we're using. Any other ones? Instagram. That's interesting. So Instagram is actually more popular now than Facebook. Instagram has a tool in it called like a survey or do you like this or that? Like a polling. It has polling. Polling is a highly valuable tool. And the reason why is polling allows you to digitally interact with your audience. What I mean by that is you can post something in Facebook, people read it, and they go right past it. Maybe they like it, but who cares? They like it and they move on. Instagram is powerful because if you put out a poll, people love to answer polls. I don't know why, but they want to answer a poll. So you put out a poll. I'm trying to think of a topic for you. I don't know, can anybody think of a topic?
Were you flooded out?
Okay, flooded, there's a flood, right? So there's a trigger in your business that if you know that there's floods, maybe there's some insurance opportunity. So were you flooded? Yes, no. Okay? And think through, is it anybody else that think of one? Do you like Tim Hortons or Starbucks? That's a common one. Not related to your business. But the point is, using Instagram, using the polling, helps you digitally connect with your audience. That's powerful. That's the holy grail of social media. Okay? So Instagram, that's really cool. Any other ones? Twitter. So Twitter is a great way to build a following, to put out information. One of the things I talk a lot about in sales consulting is, as a salesperson 15, 20 years ago, I used to own all 10 stages of the sales cycle. I would go find my prospect, I would qualify my prospect, I would learn their needs and things, I would do some kind of a presentation, I would propose something to them, I would close the deal, I would do my post actions, and then I would have some kind of a follow-on, okay? Today, the customer is already through most of those early things, and now what I need to do is basically propose something to them, close the deal, and follow up. That's what my job is if I'm in sales. So what's happened is a lot of that early decision-making that's going on is happening electronically without me in control. So by putting information out through social media tools like LinkedIn, like Twitter, like Instagram, what you're doing is you're taking some of the sales information that you would share. So things like what's important in a policy when you're 30 years old and just starting your family. Maybe that's a great blog post or a white paper or something, right? So a lot of the things that you used to use or you do use today in your sales cycle when you're physically in front of someone, turn that into digital content you can put online and push it out. So what happens, so let's say you're a broker and you're in, I live in Waterdown near Hamilton. I just moved there. So let's say you're a broker and you're in Waterdown. It's a tight community. The fact that you're in Waterdown, number one, I'm going to want to do business with you because we're a tight community. We like to do business with each other. So what if you put out posts and you hashtagged Waterdown and you hashtagged something that just happened? Remember the power outage we had the other day? And people lost their food and all that kind of stuff. So maybe you put a post out for that. Now, when I'm searching for things, I'm going to find that post. Now, all of a sudden, I'm reading this post you put out, and that post is telling me what is important about a policy when you lose power. That's the thing, that came off the top of my head. It's probably a bad thing, not a very good example, but it's an example anyway. So a couple things happen. Number one, I like you because you're local. That's important to me. Number two, I like it because you're educating me, which to me is the value of a broker. You're educating me on what I should do. And all you did is you pushed this content out electronically out into the ether. But what you've done is you've tagged it properly. And you thought about who are my ideal clients and what is it about them that is meaningful that I should leverage so they'll read this thing. So what you've done is you've moved some of your sales cycle from face-to-face to in the electronic world. That's how social media works, okay? I know some of you are using it and doing it, but as a broker, think about what's my catch basin? Where do I want to do business? Who do I want to do business with? What problems and issues do they have? What content can I put it out, and then you will grow leads. So a few places to find data. I'm going to repeat myself a lot of times so it sticks. So number one, current systems. So your BMS, email, other databases. There's probably other systems you have that contain data that can also be used for gold mining. But again, the BMS is probably the number one place. Social media tools is a place to go get data. So LinkedIn, like I said earlier, LinkedIn has valuable information. You should connect with all of your clients on LinkedIn. If you haven't, I would go do that tomorrow. Maybe that's the one thing you take away today. So go on LinkedIn, connect with all of your clients. Things are happening in their lives that you can't keep up with if you just focus on an email relationship or a face-to-face relationship. For example, Facebook. I was not a big Facebook guy. My wife loves it. I didn't care for it when it first came out. But that thing, I forget my own birthday, not alone my wife's birthday, my kids' birthdays. This tool pops up on my smartphone and says, hey, it's your wife's birthday today. Oh, shoot, I forgot to buy something. But it tells you that. So there's data in that system called birthdays. And people like you to say happy birthday, right? People, not everybody, but most people like that. So it reminds me to say happy birthday, not only to my wife, to my kids, to my parents, and my uncles and aunts and all that, but my friends. Like there's my business associates that I actually connect with on Facebook. The data is in there, and it comes out and says, hey, it's their birthday today. I get to decide whether I say happy birthday or not. But you see how it works? The data's there, and the system surfaces at the right time so you can decide to do something with it. That's how it works. So social media channels can be a great place for you to mine data. LinkedIn, I think, is the best. Maybe Facebook is the second. And then the Instagram is a good tool for putting out those polls and things. The last one on this slide, industry data. So this is better in the US than it is in Canada, but you can go and buy data too. So when you think through where do you serve, who do you service, where do you service, and what is unique about them, you can go buy that data from different places. And you can take the data, it normally comes in a spreadsheet, and you can take that data, you can leverage that data to do outbound campaigns and penetrate new customers. So the other thing that this data allows you to do, it allows you to service your clients better. So here's broker one-on-one training, 4 points. The clients expect you to know them. So when I call my broker, and I got a new car, mine's mainly car insurance, because I have my house insurance with him, and I have my car insurance with him. Okay, so I just got a new car recently. It's an Acura, and I needed insurance. And I don't know if you guys like this word or not, but they say car insurance is a grudge buy. Right? I'll just throw it out there. You probably hate that, but I apologize. I had to have insurance because I wanted to drive my nice new car off the lot. I didn't care what the insurance was. The price, I needed it to be a good price. I just want to get off the lot. Guess what my car dealer did? They offered me insurance. They managed the whole thing. You know what else they were going to do? They were going to go get my sticker for me. They literally have stickers there, and they actually managed the whole thing. I could have driven off that lot almost that day, maybe next day. Now, I turned down the insurance because I had my broker relationship. But your clients want you to know them. They want you to anticipate things for them. They expect you to let them know when something important is about to happen, a renewal or some things like that. And as a broker, your value proposition is to better service your clients. So for me, I won't leave my broker to go with the banks. And the banks bug me. When I go to my bank, they want to be everything to me. And I don't want that. The carriers are trying to go direct to me. I don't want that either, right? I'm a number to them. I'm a perfect profile for a broker. I value the extra value that I get. I value that he knows who I am. I value that he knows my history. I'm going to teach my kids, they're 21 and 24 now, that they should use a broker as well. Now, right? So, but even that, so the concept of householding. So you have Betty and Sue McGilligan. What about their kids? Do you have them? Do you have access to them? Do you know who they are? They're coming up. When they turn 16, they need car insurance. Right? So all that stuff. And I know you do all this stuff, but how can you make it easier? Facebook has allowed me to be friends with hundreds of people. I'm not really friends with all those hundreds of people, but I have a relationship with those people that I can stay in touch with. And now it has a tool where I can sell them stuff. They have the Facebook marketplace and things like that too. I just found that. That's really awesome. So these tools will help you manage this many customers to manage this many customers if you use it properly. But how do you grow the business? So managing your existing customers is one way to use the data. The other way is to grow your business. So digital inbound, relationship face-to-face, data-focused outbound. These are three sources of sales leads, okay? So the first one, digital inbound. I'm going to talk a lot about this in a second. Second one, relationship face-to-face. We all do this. Good news, face-to-face is coming back. I'll say it again, face-to-face is coming back. My son is 21 years old. He's going to business school at Laurier. And he grew up playing playing Xbox with his friends. And I'd go down in the basement and I said, it's nice outside. Why don't you go outside and play with your friends or go with your friends? He said, I am. I said, what do you mean? He said, they're online. We're playing this game together. And so I thought that was different. And that's how he grew up. He grew up socializing with his friends electronically. He's 21 at university, and he loves going for coffee, going for beers, getting together face-to-face. And I said, so why did you change? And he said, well, when I was doing that, I was a kid. And now, though, I'm trying to build relationships. It's kind of hard to meet a girl and things like that when you're on there. You have to go see them. So that might be the real motivator, but I don't know. So face-to-face is coming back. And he says his friends are the same way. So that's a good thing, because all of us have talked about these millennials. You know the millennials? The millennials do love technology, do love the digital conversations, but the face-to-face is still important. Good news for the broker community. The next one is data-focused outbound. So this is taking the data from your BMS, from those systems, thinking about what are the key things that I can use to go grow my business and going and executing on that. So 3 compelling facts about inbound lead generation. Number 1, the buying process has changed and continues to change. So does anyone not agree? Who disagrees with that? That the way people are buying insurance over the last 10, 15 years or so has fundamentally changed and continues to change. Does anyone disagree? That's good. Okay, so that is true. That is happening everywhere. The way you purchase cabs, we talked about Uber, right? The way we buy many things. How many people have bought something online? Almost everybody. So think about that. It's amazing. So we are changing, and technology is the enabler to all of it, and data is at the root of it. Fact number 2, 50% of inbound digital leads are mismanaged. And fact number 3, lead nurture drives more sales at less cost. Fact 1, your customer can be anywhere from 60 to 90% of the way through their buying process before they actually reach out to you. In fact, they're avoiding you. They don't want to be sold to. So what that means is they're consuming things electronically. They're going through the sales journey electronically before reaching out to you. So the journey, and I think you're going to talk customer journeys later, is critical. Think through your customer journey, right? Uber did that. Uber said, okay, someone needs a cab, what do? They need to know a cab company to call. Well, what if they don't know a cab company? Then they're on their phone. What if we had an app, and at point of need, they go click, and they could see these guys coming. They picked one, he came, he got in. There's no transaction. You're not sitting in the car fumbling for your Visa when you're parked downtown at a curb and the cars are whizzing by. And so they thought through, what is my customer journey to decide the cab they're going to take, but what is the experience I want them to have? If you focus on those two things, customer journey when they're buying something and the experience you want them to have. Experience is king, by the way. There's margin in experience. Okay? There's margin in experience. Think of Starbucks. Who would have thought we would pay $6 for a coffee? Okay? Or more, $7, $8. But we do, happily. Fact number 2, 50% of leads are mismanaged. Okay. Our company has been doing an ongoing test, and we have tested 1,800 companies. And the test that we did was, we said, okay, a lot of companies have websites, and their website has a way for you to contact them, right? Maybe it's a phone number, maybe it's an email address, maybe it's one of those forms, things like that. We said, what if we went to the website, we submitted a really good lead, and to see what happens? What would you think should happen? I should get a call. Do you think we got calls? 54% of those 1,800 companies have never gotten back to us. I'm going to back up for a second. We tested 1,800 companies. They built a website. Does anyone have a website here? How hard was that? It's a pain in the butt thinking through. But you did it. And you finally get someone to click on the form and go, hey, I want some help. And you ignore it? 54%. This is across all industries. 75% took more than 1 hour to get back to us. Now, most of you would go, 1 hour, that's awesome. It's not. In the digital world, 5 minutes or less. If somebody submits a lead to your website, you want to respond to them with a real person, not a thank you, we'll get back to you someday. A real person should get back to that person 5 minutes or less. If you can do it in a minute, your benchmark. 5 minutes or less. Some of you may feel, oh, that feels weird to me. That's like I'm desperate or something. It's not. People, okay, another story. I'm at home, it's in the winter, I had a furnace problem, it's Sunday, and I had a busy day Monday. So I went online to 3 different companies that fix furnaces. The first one, I went to their website. There was no way to get a hold of them that day, so I left them. The next one I went to, they had a form to fill in. I filled it in. The third one had a live chat with a live agent. I chatted with this nice lady, and I told her what's wrong. And she says, Mr. Triggs, we can get someone out there at 8 o'clock Monday morning. Perfect. I didn't even ask how much it was. Done. Done. My needs are done. I go back to my Sunday. I know that everything's going to be taken care of Monday morning. I'm good. How powerful is that? Isn't that awesome? So 5 minutes or less, get back to your people. Remember, 60 to 90% of the way through the process before they reach out to a person. They just reached out to you. Okay? All right. 82% didn't try a second time. So we purposely don't respond to that first one to see what happens, and most of them gave up. 4 days was the average response for the ones that did get back. By then, I've decided what I want already and probably bought. And the common denominator was poor tools and process. So if I was to do this test on your company, how would you do? Show of hands say that you would do really well. How many not sure? How many we would suck? All right. Well, guess what? We did. We got a list of companies that were coming to this event, and we tested you.
And I just said I saw.
Yeah. Did anyone take a picture of the hands just now so we can go back and... All right. Would you like to learn the results?
Yes.
Okay. Do we have a drum roll? I should incorporate that in. Okay. We tested a cross-section. We got 18 companies, which is a little over half of the group that's here, just to see what the numbers told us. 50% have not responded to us. 16% took more than an hour. 66 did not try a second attempt yet. 2-hour average response time, and it's the same common denominator, process and tools. So what's interesting about this test is every time I do it, the math almost works out identical. It is alarming. It is crazy. I don't understand it. So what I'm showing you is an example of a challenger sale model. Challenger sale is the highest level of selling that you can sell. Challenger sale is, remember solution selling? Solution selling at Xerox, I was trained on solution selling. Challenger selling is even more advanced than solution selling. So solution selling is, you have a problem, I have a solution, let me go through it all, and you'll make a deal with me, okay? Challenger sale is, you have a problem that you don't even know about, but I have a solution to it, okay? So some of you have a problem. You need to find a solution to it, okay? I'm not going to share who and all that kind of stuff. If anybody wants to know the exact test and what we did, my contact information is there. I'm glad to send it to you privately. And, but is this good or bad? It is what it is. The bar is low, but it's opportunity, right? It's an opportunity for you to improve. And if you improve even 5%, you're better than the average across Canada. So that's pretty good. Okay. So someone comes to your website, what should you do? Reality is, most of those web leads that come in, they're not buying right now, right? You might get 1% of them that are ready to buy, or they want a quote. A lot of them are going to be asking for information. It's the asking for information ones that are important. Remember that the customer is anywhere from 60 to 90% of the way through their buying process before they reach out to you. So in this case, they have reached out to you. Not a person, but they've reached out to you. They want information. Here's your opportunity to sell all the wonderful value of working with a broker. Maybe interview your top 5 customers and ask them, why do you use a broker versus the other methods? I gave you some of the ones earlier, why I do it. And so the information you want on your website, and we didn't see that. We didn't see a lot of this. We didn't see a lot of thought leadership information on the website that I could download from you. We didn't see a lot of regional things. So if you're a broker in Waterdown, why is it so awesome to work with a local Waterdown broker? So we didn't see a lot of that. Those are the things that you would use in an active sales cycle. You would give them the reasons why they should work with you, all that type of thing. So what you want to think about is, how do you create that electronically? Either put it in your social media, put it on your website, and have a way that they can get access to that, but they have to tell you who they are first. People will do that. They will do that, okay? So anyway, the lead comes in, you capture who they are, and you decide, are they ready now? Ready later. Most will be ready later, but the ready later, don't ignore those guys. Like, those are the ones that are future business. They may switch. So you want to be able to give them information in an automated way using the tools that you have, so that they learn more about you, learn why they should do business with you, and then eventually they will do business. So that's the qualification stage, ready now, ready later. Assign it to the right resource. If it's ready later, that's more of a marketing thing, sending them, adding them to a list, an email list, adding them to like a nurture list. The other one is assign it to a salesperson so they can go and qualify, propose, and close, and then convert them to a customer when they're ready. The most important variable you have is time. The easiest way to leverage and increase the success in this area, do it quickly. No matter what you do it quickly. Everyone can control that. So lead nurture drives more sales at less cost. So lead nurture is things like drip campaigns. So once you know who somebody is, stay in touch with them. Some brokers like to send out a birthday thing, happy birthday, it's your birthday, and that's a way of staying in touch, and it is. It's not a highly relevant one to what you're doing, but it is a way to stay in touch, and it's quite easy to do. But there's other things that you can do. Using your data from your BMS and other things, what are the different pieces of information you can leverage to stay in touch with your current clients and potential ones so you can sell them more? You can set up a drip campaign. There's free tools that are out there that allow you to do this, software tools. There's software tools you can pay for, right? So they're there. So regular digital communication. If you go to our website, to my company, you'll see different pieces of information. How do I do this? How do I do that? Once you like something, you click on it, and a form comes up. You put in your name and your email address, and boom, you get that document. You go into our system, and it creates a lead. One of our salespeople will reach out to you and say, we can help you in many ways, this way or that way. If you're ready now, you come through and say, yeah, I'm really ready. I want to talk to somebody. Great. That goes, and the salesperson takes it. The majority of those aren't that. So we put that into a digital nurture. They get added to a marketing campaign, and every week they get an email that's already set up. We set it up once, and that's it. And every week it goes out. So that's how we build our customer base electronically. You can do events. You can do webinars. So maybe you do a webinar once a month and about local topics if you're more of a regional thing, okay? Face-to-face events, you can do things like this. Mailers and joining different associations. So those are, I know a lot of you do all this already. It's just who do you invite to that? So you've got all these people making decisions electronically. Capture who they are, add them to your list. Even if you don't have fancy systems and everything else, use a spreadsheet. The spreadsheet's a wonderful thing. And then that becomes the list that you market to. So data-focused outbound, sales triggers. Your sales triggers need to be meaningful and relevant. So the birthday idea, that's nice to stay in touch, but we're busy. People are busy. We want meaningful interaction with the people we do business with. I want to know why I should pick one policy over another. I want to know what I should do. So you can source triggers from social media. The one example I used earlier was the fellow that changed jobs. That's a trigger. Having babies is a trigger. You know all the sales triggers. But how can you leverage the data? How can you go find out who had a baby? And how can you find out who changed jobs? And how? So pick the triggers you feel comfortable with. Pick one or two of them and use that and do some kind of a campaign. The data, so things like renewals, the ability to upsell, cross-sell. So maybe I need insurance for my cottage, right? I don't have a cottage, by the way, but if I had one, I would need insurance for it, and things like that. So digital inbound is really this. So at the center, you have some kind of system. You can use a spreadsheet, or you can have a simple CRM system that at least you have a place where you record this information. Then you wrap your sales process around that. So it's some of the things I talked about, but you decide what sales process you want and wrap it around that. If you do it well, you can manage your existing clients way more effectively than you can today, and you can go after potential new ones. The other thing you can do is connect it to your digital presence. Your digital presence is your digital footprint for your company. That is your website. That is your Facebook, your LinkedIn, your Twitter, all the different digital tools you use online. You're leaving a digital footprint. You want to be able to connect that data and pull that data in so you can track it and measure it and monitor it. One example for Facebook, I brought it up earlier. How many of your clients are you connected to on Facebook? How many of your clients are you connected to on LinkedIn? Now, I wouldn't connect with you on Facebook because I try to keep that to just my friends and family and things, but on LinkedIn I would. So start there. All of your clients, connect with them on LinkedIn. That's an exercise you can do tomorrow. You have a spreadsheet, customer 1 to customer 1,000. I hope you have 1,000 customers. And then column number 2, LinkedIn connection, yes, no. Give that to someone on your team. Get a university student. They're all looking for internships right now. And some of them are still looking, and they can help you do that. Connect it to some way of marketing to them automatically. There's a lot of free tools out there. So those free tools will help you digitally communicate to them on autopilot. So you're dripping things to them, right? Because if you have to physically do it yourself, you won't do it. It'd be like joining the gym in January. Gung-ho. You go there 3 times, I'm out. I didn't really want to hit that goal after all. So set it and forget it. If you can learn to set it and forget it, you'll be successful. And you need a tool to do that. There's a lot of free ones out there. Last but not least, find a way to connect your master list with those gold mine systems, those gold, the buried treasure stuff, so your BMS. Try to get that data, the things that are relevant, into one place as much as you can, even if it's just a spreadsheet, so you can build a picture and you can automate some of the things that you want to do. Now, this is I could talk for an hour just on this, but I won't. So the first box is attract. Attract more clients. How do you do that? Post really cool stuff in social media. LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram polls. Experiment with it a little bit. Post stuff there. People will find you using Bing and Google. If I'm at Microsoft, I say Bing. Everywhere else, I say Google. So here I can say both. So people search for things. They find it. They land at the website. The website, if you can have a live chat agent, by the way, #1 way of converting leads from your web. #1 way. We use something called livechatinc.com. They're out of Europe. It's $39 a month. You load it on your website, and then you turn it on, and so you log in, and I can do it on my phone. So if you have a receptionist, give the receptionist the access to this thing. If someone reaches out to you on your website through live chat, they treat that just like a telephone call. If you did that tomorrow, I guarantee you'd get more leads. Guarantee it. Okay, so live chat. Livechatinc.com. There's a lot of other ones. That's the one I like. The lead comes in, stick it into your CRM or spreadsheet, and then use that data so that you can automate how you communicate. So you're attracting people based on the content you're putting out. You're engaging with them because you're capturing who they are on your website and your social tools. And you're converting them because you're deciding what they need, what they want, and you're converting them through that way. Again, I just boiled down in a minute and a half, what I normally talk about in an hour. So, summary. Use digital inbound lead generation. So we just talked a lot about that. Post stuff, social stuff, website. Use data-focused outbound. So look at the data that you have and go and pick a couple things and try it, okay? There's no magic in all this where everyone runs out and does a couple of these and all this money is going to roll in. This is a journey. This is an evolution. Your industry is changing and will continue to change. I think you're in a perfect place because, #1, you're together. When I told everyone I'm speaking at Orbit, they thought it was an astronaut convention or something. But I wanted to describe what it was. It's like, well, that's pretty cool that they have that. So you guys have something. Stick together. Stick together. I also go and talk to these big guys, the carriers and all that. I know what they're trying to do. You know what they're trying to do too. It's happening in other industries. I've got a customer that's in retail. They sell their products through retail channels. They're trying to go to the end client. They want that end client's data so they can cut out the retail piece, right? There's listing fees they have to pay. There's loopholes they have to go. They want to go from product manufacturer right to the customer. That's happening everywhere. It's happening to you too. But your value-add services and appealing to what people want, a certain cross-section of the population, your market, like you have it. It's just you have to leverage the digital technology because that's the way we work. I have to remember there's a mic there. BMS is one source. Email is another source. You have other data sources you can use. Use your data to not only know your customer, but to anticipate their needs. So at Xerox, we used to lease our own equipment. And 90 days before a lease expiry, we were trained to pull the data from the system, reach out to the customer, and go and sell. We had a 98% retention on our lease programs. 98%. And it was due to a very tight process. We got in well before the end of that lease so we could understand what the customer's requirements were using solution selling tactics and upgrade them to the next piece of equipment. Okay? So anticipate what your customer needs. back on this for a second. My driver's license is expiring this year. That's another trigger. I forgot. I totally forgot. That's one little thing. You have that data, the driver's license. You could literally have a little campaign that says, I will make sure that that won't happen to you. I'll make sure that you get your driver's license renewed. There's other data that you have in there as well. Yeah?
I just want to add that the laws changed in Ontario so that if your driver's license expires, you have no insurance. So there's a really nice reason to tell people that as well as getting it renewed.
I didn't even know that.
I know.
Yeah, see, like that's, so see the data though? That little simple, silly little thing of a driver's license expiry can open up some things for you, okay? So leverage people's life and business career triggers. So this is called trigger selling. There's a book written by a nice Canadian out in Calgary. It's called Trigger Event Selling, and it's a whole way of using triggers to sell. Use systems to help you scale. Now, I sell CRM for a living, and I'm not here to sell you a CRM system at all. Use a spreadsheet. There's a lot of really good free tools you can use out there, but just start. Just start. You don't have to boil the ocean with this thing, okay? And I know it's almost insulting to say just start. I know a lot of you already have, right? But I have to address the audience. The audience is here to here and everything in between. So for those of you who are doing really well at this, help your other friends here. For those of you who don't know where to start, you can, and I'm not kidding about hiring an intern from university. These kids are smart. Like, they get it. They grew up with this stuff, okay? Don't underestimate that. So you need some form of a CRM. And a CRM at its lowest common denominator literally is a spreadsheet. You need some way of automating the marketing. And there's a lot of different tools out there. So like MailChimp, for example, is one that you could use. That sends emails. You need to make sure that you ask for Canadian anti-spam law permission, Canadian anti-spam law castle. So you need to ask for that. But as long as you have that, you're good. You can email them. And then mobile technology. So during your day and your travels, you want to fill the gaps in your day with valuable activities. So those social tools that you have, those should be on your smartphone. So you can see what's going on, you can comment, that type of thing. You want to use that mobile technology. If you're not sure where to start, get help to help you. And just get started. So there's a few things that I want to leave you with. At our company, we have something called the Learning Academy, and it's at our website. And a lot of the topics I'm talking about, there's content there you can use. It's free, you don't have to pay anything. If you wanted to get an actual lead assessment done, we did a very boiled down version of what we do. If you wanted, what I offered to Orbit is anyone who attends the event, we would do for free our full assessment. So if any of you want that, just email that link. And that is a form, actually. So how that works is you click on that link, it's a form, you fill it in, our sales and marketing team get it, and then we're not going to tell you when we're going to do the test. We'll do it over the next anywhere from a week to some period of time I won't tell you. We'll do the test, and then I will get back to you with the results. Okay, so that's free for all of you. And then I'm happy to talk to you about what you can and can't do if you choose to do that. So that's me. Any questions? Here, I'll leave that up there so you have it. Any questions? I have about, I think, 5 minutes left or so. Any comments?
I have a question.
Yeah.
I know there's a microphone somewhere, just where it is. So when we're talking about the lead generation and knowing your customer, one of the next ones up is on commercial lines. Do you see it differently when you're dealing with small companies versus large companies? Does it work the same way of knowing your customer?
I think it does. It's so we used to call it things. We used to say B2B and B2C. So business to business and business to consumer. The common denominator or the equalizing factor is we're all humans. So you can label it as human to human. So if you work in a big company, when you go to buy something, there's a formal structure you'll go through, and that's true. But a lot of the things we do in our commercial B2C, in our commercial private life, we're bringing to work. So for example, if I needed to buy a new TV and I didn't know where to get one and what one to buy, I would go online and I would start researching kinds of TVs to see what others say. And then that would lead me to, I buy the Samsung TVs now. So that would lead me to Samsung. So Samsung, what's the model I want? So I'd go and do that. And then where can I buy it? And lately I've been buying things like that on Amazon and getting it delivered, which is kind of a cool experience. And so, or I'd go to Best Buy and buy it. So if I go to Best Buy, I show up to Best Buy and I say, I'm looking for this Samsung, this model. And say, great, yeah, we have some. I say, no, I checked online, I saw you had inventory. And then I buy it. That's it. So that salesperson didn't do anything. They just helped me get the thing and get me out the door. So those buying behaviors in my personal life are spilling into the business, in the commercial space. So the journey is very similar. It's just when companies are buying something for large corporations, there's a process they go through that you have to work through. But it's almost the same. Does that answer your question? Yeah? Yep.
In the fourth industrial revolution, you put up around cloud and data. You started that in 2015, so we're kind of only 2.5 years in. So can you comment on the state of security because of the hacking? So it's one thing to say, I'm going to take the personal data of my customers and I'm going to store it in the cloud. But then you want to talk about what's the responsibility and all of those things. So to some degree, I've got to say, I like, I'm an old school. I like some of the idea of a spreadsheet if you're not going to take the time, effort, or you don't have it around cybersecurity. So if you comment on that, that'd be great. Thanks.
So security is the hottest topic, right? The cloud has exploded. So 5 years ago, 90% of all the deals we did for CRM were on-premise installs, not cloud, for those reasons. Everyone was worried and nervous. Over the last 12 months, I can't remember the last on-premise deal we did. We don't do any. It's not because we don't want to do it. No one's asking us anymore. Some of them still ask some questions, though, around security. So the things that you want to know about your data is your data should be 100% residing in Canada. You don't want it to leave Canada. So a lot of companies have caught on to that, and there's lots of options today for hosting services in Canada. So there's two kinds of cloud. Does everybody know everything about the cloud? You want to know something about the cloud? So the cloud is really two things. The cloud is just a server sitting in somebody's building that you pay to access. So it's not in the cloud, like physically in the cloud. It's just somewhere else. The server you access could actually be in the building right next door here. And when you open up your computer and log into the Wi-Fi here, and you go on the internet and you access it, you're using your login and password to get in to the server that's sitting in that building there. That's cloud access. But the beauty is, they're managing all that. They guarantee it'll be there when you need it. All the right versions of software and updates are there. Your data will be secure and protected. So that's the service offering that they have. So this whole cloud service offering, you can access software and use it, or you can actually take your software you have and stick it in the cloud so you don't have to have servers and people to manage it for you. So those are the two things. So
Have you transferred your liability off to the carrier managing your cloud service, or does that still reside on the business side and so on?
So for most companies, the liability lies with you. If your data is not, because you in many cases you sign privacy clauses and things like that say, your data will not blah blah blah. So if you use an outsourced provider or you use a cloud service provider, you want to make sure that they have the right security protocols in place and things like that. What's happened is 5 years ago or more, people were absolutely deathly afraid of their data being somewhere. There's been enough transactions now, there's been enough water under the bridge. People are pretty comfortable with it. So comfortable, financial services organizations today who we do business with are opting for the cloud. Banks, TD, CIBC, BMO, opting for the cloud. Government, one of the largest consumers of cloud CRM anyway, is the government now. So they've opened that up. And it all came available is because a lot of the providers have Canadian data center hosting services. That's the number one thing. You don't want your data to leave Canada, especially with what you're doing. Does that help? Okay. I think I get the hook now. Well, thank you. I think you're in a really good place. You may not feel like you are, but I get to go around and see lots of different organizations, and the value proposition you offer to your clients are the reason why you can be successful. And so, good luck. Thank you.